Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover as we got new updates on Eminem's Houdini, and boy, this is exceeding expectations on a global level as we got a couple of new number ones around the world that came in a few hours ago. And guess what? This includes South Africa, where Houdini went number one. South Africa, where Houdini went number one. And we'll expand on this in a bit as the drama between Megan Thee Stallion fans who believe Eminem was dissing her and using her for clout is still on, following Billboard's report that Houdini opened at number 2 on the Hot 100 in the United States, and they came out of the woodwork to slam Eminem on Twitter, and the heated debates are quite a spectacle, to be honest, seeing as Houdini just hit a couple of new milestones, including eligibility for a certification in the United States, and we'll get to more on this in a moment, as we also got to hear from Snoop Dogg from a Shady Verse exclusive with DJ Who Kid, and Snoop briefly spoke about Houdini, and we'll get to this later. And at the latter part of the video, we'll get to Eminem's take on how leaks in the 2000s affected his music. As we all know, fans were robbed of another classic album with Encore due to the leaks that affected the quality of the album, and Eminem, in his own words, described this as suffering from post-traumatic leak disorder. And it is wild because, as you'd see, the leakers still don't see what the fuss is about, and we'll get to this later. And starting with Houdini, Billboard and chart data decided to do some trolling a few hours ago when they shared this. Billboard notes that 2 songs titled Houdini have charted on the Hot 100, number 2 Eminem, number 11 Dua Lipa. And for those who missed the context, when Eminem announced Houdini, Dua Lipa fans were throwing tantrums on social media like she owned the name Houdini or something. So this is certainly stirring the pot for engagement, and like we already covered in the last video, it has officially debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Global 200 chart, and it missed number 1 in the United States due to a disastrous performance on US radio. However, the fact that it failed to go number 1 brought out the salty, as this went viral a few hours ago after the news hit the web. Tried to use Megan for marketing and still couldn't achieve what Meg did. And of course, this is bait or ignorance, because it is not the gotcha moment that they are going for, seeing as Houdini outperformed Megan's last number 1 with ease, but failed to go number 1 due to stronger competition. And the debates have been on. Even Nicki Minaj fans have been going off. 1, he did quadruple the amount of streams his did. 2, he had more overall points on Billboard than his did when it debuted at number 1. 3, Boa flopped 2 weeks on the chart. Y'all look a mess. And for some context on what is being celebrated as some win for Megan Thee Stallion, it is true, his debuted at number 1 with 287 Billboard points compared to Eminem's Houdini that debuted at number 2 that earned 375 points. It is all about the competition you're up against. And mind you, while his went number 1, it has been out for 4 months and has gotten outviewed and outstreamed by Houdini in a single week on Spotify and YouTube. Suffice to say, if you haven't gotten it yet, these people are setting up Megan Thee Stallion to get dragged, as remember, she's also dropping an album in a few days. And this reminds me of something that happened a few years back between Eminem and Halsey when she tried it, and we covered how that ended on this channel. And moving on to the latest updates, Houdini has now hit number 1 in 9 countries around the world so far, including South Africa and Canada. And in Canada's case, it pretty much got 0 airplay but still managed to go number 1. And according to reports, for the Middle East and North African market, it is also the number 1 song in the region, and Houdini keeps setting records for Eminem. Check this out. Eminem's Houdini has now sold over 500,000 units in the United States. This was done in roughly 10 days, which is unheard of for a song to do and still fail to go number 1. And this sparked reactions like radio stations, the reason it didn't debut at number 1 on the Hot 100, and Shady Verse got an exclusive with DJ Who Kid and Snoop Dogg where they briefly spoke about Eminem's Houdini, and it is good to see how Snoop and Eminem have patched things up. Check out a snippet.
Eminem is back, man. The old Eminem, Houdini. Does that bring back memories of Eminem?
Houdini, you know, what do Houdini do? The nigga disappear and come back. Oh, shit. Ain't that what he do? He's a magician. Nigga, you didn't even know that. Who you thought Houdini was, a nigga that made airplanes? Abracadabra, abracadabra. I'm gonna reach out and grab it. That shit bang. Shout out to Slim Shady. Welcome back to the block, dog. Bring some more of that real hip hop back. You know what I'm talking about? Detroit. Hey, Mom Spaghetti got some bomb-ass food, too, cuz I can't even front. Send me some of that garlic bread.
And in reaction to this, some have expanded. Glad Snoop came to his senses and squashed the beef with Eminem before it went too far. That whole thing was 100% Snoop being an idiot. And boy, if you weren't around when that got heated, you missed out big time. It was absolute chaos on social media, and even Royce the 5'9" was dissing E.T. back then.
The Snoop thing, I like Doggy Style. I think that's one of the greatest albums of all time.
Facts.
You know, that was like all hell. World War III broke out on YouTube. You know, the E.T. lifestyle and all these little corny ass niggas. Oh man, I just feel like he could have worded that different. Well, I just feel like I worded it how the fuck I wanted to. Tell me how to speak.
I'm like, what did he say fuck me for?
And all the critics who gave Snoop props for discrediting Eminem ended up with eggs on their faces after Snoop went on a press run to reveal that it was all his fault and that he apologized to Eminem. And as expected back then, they quickly turned on Snoop after that. But it is all water under the bridge now. And we got an update from the United Kingdom a few hours ago that shows Eminem is still leading the projections for #1 second week atop the UK charts. And moving on to the next point, snippets from the documentary How Music Got Free hit the web now that the series is out on Paramount Plus from executive producers LeBron James and Eminem. And we got to see a few snippets from the show on Twitter, and we got to hear from Eminem about how leaks affected his creation process and timeline in the 2000s. Check out a snippet.
It was like music should be free, and then it's like, okay, well, here's what you don't understand if music should be free. I have an engineer to pay. There's an entire army of people that work at Interscope that need their paycheck.
It was annoying. It was messing with his creative process and how he wanted people to hear it.
What do? Do I try to make songs like those that leaked? But then people go, well, we already heard that from you.
Well, we just found out today that we have no choice, but because of demand and the piracy and everything that's going on out there, that we have to push the Eminem album up, the new album, The Eminem Show, up to May 28th rather than June 4th.
Your whole marketing plan went out the window. I mean, every hour that record was out, you were losing sales.
I'm, falling over my desk and Eminem screaming at me.
What do I want people at home to know about this record? It's out today.
Like us ripping a record, it was actually good for the artist. It was free exposure.
We have no choice but to stop everything else we're doing and get this record out.
His album got released probably a month before the release date. He had to reschedule his tours, and he was pretty upset from what I read.
Whoever put my shit on the internet, I want to meet that motherfucker and beat that shit out of him. Oh, I got Eminem's new CD. I got Eminem's new CD.
That was my first album that suffered, so it was devastating to me in the sense of like, oh, I just did all that for nothing.
As an artist, you want to make something that for the world to have, and now you're complaining that it's being distributed? Come on.
And before we get to how Eminem and his team decided to deal with the problem, this sparked conversations like, we'll never know how well the Eminem Show and Encore would have done if the leaks never happened, loudly crying emoji. And in Encore's case, it literally ruined its chances of being another Eminem classic. Rappers today really don't know the struggle of when Napster started blowing up. And on this note, a user expanded, the Eminem Show is already one of the best hip-hop albums out there, and it's already diamond. But imagine if the Eminem Show had a full marketing campaign behind it and was able to generate the hype Eminem and Interscope wanted for the album. And another snippet hit Twitter that showed how Eminem decided to start dealing with the problem. The rise of Napster really put Eminem through the ringer. Imagine disguising your music inside a tampon box so it wouldn't be found out before it got to Paul. I also think he remained avoidant of high tech because of this very thing.
Kids, they want the music and they don't want you to tell them how to listen to it, where and when.
A whole generation got used to the idea that music should be free.
Marshall was very hesitant to ever let his music leave the studio that was unreleased.
We had to send music and I wasn't going to send it over the internet. So I was mailing shit to Paul so he could hear it.
When he had new music that he wanted me to check out, he would send a physical CD to me. He was worried that people would know that it was Eminem sending a CD to Paul Rosenberg, so they would try to disguise what they were sending.
I put it in a big box and it'd be wrapped 10 different times and it'd be one CD.
Cans of sodas, you know, a magazine and a basketball.
Or put it in a tampon box, send it to Paul, who's gonna look in the tampon box.
So I'd come to the office or my house and see this big box and be like, what's that? And then I'd look at where it came from and I was like, oh, that's the CD that Marshall was gonna send me.
Post-traumatic, what?
PLD, post-traumatic leak disorder.
Post-traumatic leak disorder is what I had.
And it is wild how the leakers still think they were doing the biggest artist in the world a favor by leaking his music. And I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.